This is the Flex Network. Flex on everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Flex Network. I am your host, Flex Shane. You can follow me on Twitter at the Flex Network 1. I am joined by the original Sultan of Swing, Brandon D. Adam. Brandon, how are you doing today, brother?
We're doing awesome. Saturday before the first weekend, full-blown weekend. I can't wait. I'm so excited. It's going to be a great slate to watch.
Man, we've been here. We've been slugging it out all off season. We've been giving you dynasty advice. We've been giving you draft advice. And now we're going to give you some lineup advice, ladies and gentlemen. So, of course, like I said, you can follow us on Twitter at the Flex Network 1. You can follow Brandon on Twitter if you want to get into some fantasy football discussions at Brandon D. Adam 19. I don't say this enough, people. If you appreciate what we're doing, please download and subscribe our podcast. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. Please comment, and maybe we will respond back because, we love talking about fantasy football.
We will respond.
We will respond back. I say maybe, but we're kind of degenerate, so we absolutely will. So for those who are new to the Flex Network, typically what we like to do every week is we like to talk, just a little bit of shit about what we like this week. If we're recording on Saturday mornings, which is likely what we're going to be doing here, we're going to talk a little bit about the Thursday games. And then, of course, the crowd favorite, everybody loves it, our flex plays of the week. Now, my favorite part is I don't have Al here being a wet blanket about my flex plays, so I can be your wet blanket, Brandon.
Yeah, you can. I think I got some good ones, though. I think people are going to be able to hit on a couple of these.
Our boy Clip checking in as usual. Clip, we appreciate you. We love you.
There he is.
Yeah. So, of course, we are recording this on the morning of Saturday, September 11th. It is the 20-year anniversary of the 9/11 events in New York City. And not to get all somber, but I think we'd be remiss to not give a shout out to literally the thousands of lives and people that were affected by the events. And let's call it what it is, man. It literally changed the world. It changed the world that we know. It was an interesting time because not only was the advent of the internet and social media wasn't quite there, but I think it made the world smaller when that happened.
That's exactly right. I mean, the world is a much smaller place than we all know and imagine. And we have never forget those heroes, man.
Absolutely.
My country 20 years ago went through something tragic event that was senseless violence and changed the course of the whole world, honestly. But thank you to all those that helped out on that day, and we remember you guys and the ones that were lost.
You appreciate your first responders. I mean, we're in the middle. We're still in the tail end, hopefully, of this pandemic. So, frontline staff, we appreciate you. We love you, and we thank you. So, with that, we're going to talk a little bit about fantasy football. So, Brandon, we had, I think, what was a very exciting game. Look, that first half, it really seemed to frickin' drag out between Tampa and Dallas. But, man, it was a shootout. It was fun. It was electric. We had a lot of passing, which meant a lot of fantasy points. What was your initial impressions of that initial Dallas versus Tampa Bay game?
Holy shit, Dak Prescott is fine. He is gonna be a star this year, and I think anybody that was fading him is gonna be eating a little bit of crow, and it's just gonna be unbelievable. And the second thing that stood out to me was CeeDee Lamb, and his target share was crazy high. And I think there's quite a possibility of two wide receiver ones in the same offense.
I mean, there are two wide receiver ones.
I mean throughout the season, it's going to be incredible. It's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. And I think in part the fact that Michael Gallup was hurt by the end of that game, it really did further open that up. But there's a few there's a bunch of takeaways here. Let's talk about Dallas first. So from Dallas, I think legitimately, when Gallup comes back, he is a legitimate flex play, or at least flex consideration every single week.
Sure.
I think Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, it's going to be whoever scores those touchdowns because they're both going to be peppered with targets. And man, okay, look, CeeDee looked a little bit, shaky I know this isn't his rookie year; it's a
He looked
sophomore year.
young.
He had a few drops. He looked young,
Yep.
but my goodness, he looked good. I'll admit, I think Amari Cooper looked a little slow out there, at least to start the game, and maybe it was the ankle, but frig, man, what did he have? Like 11 catches or 10 catches and 2 touchdowns? It was just insane.
It's amazing how he piled up. Once the looks started flowing his way, he piled up so much yardage. It was pretty awesome to watch. I'm a little bit biased towards Lamb because I just think he is he's the next Larry Fitzgerald, and he is unbelievable. He just needs to he had some focus drops, but to be honest though, Dak did underthrow him on 3 targets that weren't his fault. But that one, the interception, that was on Lamb. That was a dime.
Yeah.
And I think this young player is going to learn from that, and he's going to just keep his efficiency is just going to go better and better and better.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bottom line is I think by the end of the season, we're going to see that both those guys will probably pay off their round 3 value this season.
100%. Yeah.
So Dak Prescott was actually a guy that we were getting a lot of exposure to, especially if you're using our draft tools and using our draft advice. Basically he was going right after, I think, the Kyler Lamar tier. Right after that, it was like the Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers tier by the end there. And look, man, he's gonna pay off. He didn't really, and here's the thing, guys. He didn't get fantasy points on the ground, right? That's how we really look at, okay, at that elite level, we want guys who are running. He had a few runs. I don't think he had any design runs that I saw. But he looked okay. He looked mobile, but he looked freaking sharp.
His arm, what really stood out to me was his brain and it wasn't his arm strength. It wasn't his mobility. It was the way he was just cutting up that defense just by identifying defenses and identifying the matchups. It was impressive to watch, and he definitely has taken another step in his development. It's going to be he's going to be a top quarterback next year in Superflex, and he's going to be amazing. Right back to where he was.
Yeah, Dallas came in. They were a 9-point underdog in that game, if you believe it. And
I know
the way to beat Tampa was through the air. So it kind of worked out. They had a pretty good game plan, I would say. If Greg DeLay could actually hit a few of those, a 60-yarder, it is what it is, but he looks shaky too, coming back from injury. But understandably, you're not going to beat Tampa on the ground. Okay. So Zeke was kind of just naturally phased out of that offense, but more so, do you worry a little bit about his usage? Because Tony Pollard, man, he looked good. He looked electric, and he looked just as good as Zeke, frankly. In the 17-game season, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he is I'm so happy I faded him. I have very little Zeke, and I think, especially now with Lyle Collins being out for 5 games now, suspended, that's a huge loss. That's another huge loss.
Because he didn't appear for drug tests. Is that what it was?
I have no idea. All I saw was that he was suspended for 5 games for substance abuse issues. And I just as soon as that happened, I was like, that's Zeke. I was telling another guy, I was talking to a friend about him. I was just saying, Zeke is at the stage of his career where he needs the play to be blocked up. Like, he needs it. Like, he can't, I don't see him creating on his own. I just don't see the explosiveness that I remember him in his first few years. I just don't see that. I really see Pollard, like when both of those guys are coming out after each other, you can just see the difference in juice with Pollard. So I don't know. I honestly believe the Cowboys are going to be just using Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and those wide receivers. And I think that's the way this offense is going to be. I think they're kind of going to go that Buffalo route where they're going to be throwing a ton. And I think I honestly believe Zeke is just, he's a leader on the team. Like, he's a foundation guy in the locker room, and he's Dak Prescott's best friend. So he's not going anywhere. So I just believe that the usage is going to drop quite a bit this year. And I think CeeDee Lamb is going to be taking a lot of that offense over. And I think Dak is going to be the guy dictating that.
Yeah, I'm not quite there. I'm not quite like, oh my God, the sky is falling for Ezekiel Elliott, fantasy managers.
I don't see it.
I'm not quite there yet. Look, I would argue Tampa Bay is one of the stoutest, the strongest front seven in the league, period, right? In terms of a defense. Yeah. So, I mean, it was absolutely everything against him. So I don't want to spend all day on this talking about this game, but we have to talk a little bit about Tampa. Antonio Brown looks legitimate. Chris Godwin looked good. He looked like he was Tom Brady's first read pretty much every play last or on Thursday night. Mike Evans worries me. He's going to be very boom bust, which we were telling you because he didn't get to target share last year. And one of the reasons he was so productive in previous years because he was just absolutely peppered with targets. So that worries me a little bit. Rob Gronkowski looks like he's 20-4 again. He looked unbelievable, look, at the end of his career as a Patriots, and y'all know I'm a Patriots fan, right? So at the end of his career, the last couple of years, he was used as a blocker, and he was an extremely effective blocker. They used him in moments when they had to use him, but in general, he wasn't the same guy. He looked mechanical out there. Last year, coming off of his retirement, he had a slow start to the season, but he started to look good. And obviously in the Super Bowl, he was electric, right? He looks like he has an age. He is officially on the TB12 diet plan. I guarantee it because he looks limber, he looks agile, and he looks mobile.
I knew Gronk was going to be a big performer on the national stage. It just seems like Tom Brady loves to hook up his boys on nationally televised games. And that's why I put the bet out for 2 touchdown game for Rob. And I cashed on that. And I knew and also because Tampa Bay's secondary was beat up and they lost their safety as well. I knew that Gronk could take over the middle of the field. And that's exactly what happened. I just screwed up. I knew I don't know why I put a bet. I put an in-game parlay with Evans in there with CeeDee Lamb getting 70 yards and a touchdown. That was the other 2 part of the parlay, and I didn't hit on Mike Evans. And I was so close to making that with Antonio Brown, and I should have, and I knew better. And I just see Mike Evans is almost disposable. Like he's almost like he's an afterthought right now.
Yeah. Clip saying look at the rookie tape of Gronk and Thursday. That's what I'm saying. Clip, he looked like he was 24 again.
He looked so good. He looked so good. And like you said, he looked like Frankenstein when he was running routes back when he was at the tail end of the Patriots. He was never. I think that dude living in that Florida sun, man. I'm telling you, that body feels good down there, and he can. That's why Tom and Gronk went down there. I'm telling you, that warm weather helps out.
Yeah, I don't think Gronk realizes that he's not still retired. I feel like he's just like, hey man, let's just go party. Hey, you guys want to go play a little pickup game of football? Let's do it. Let's go. And
let's just do that. Let's go. Let's just go kill it. Exactly.
He's awesome. Then to put a bow in the Tampa Bay offense, any wide receiver, I would say even Mike Evans, I'm happy to start every single week. It's going to be up and down, I'd say, depending, because not everybody can be fed every single week. I'm staying away from that backfield. I don't care. Ronald Jones, after that fumble, he was basically relegated to the bench. Gio Bernard was only really used at that last drive where they got
2-minute drill,
the game, in the 2-minute drill. And Leonard Fournette, he was up and down. But that's it. We're going to put a bow on that. We're excited. Obviously, we've been talking about the last 10 minutes about this game because we love football. Brandon, one of the things that I would say we pride ourselves in is our ability to recognize rookies. We play in a lot of dynasty leagues together and independently. We've been talking about pretty much since February these rookies and for dynasty and the draft process. And so really what it culminates down to is you get a little bit of rookie fever, right? The skin starts to turn some weird pigments, you're not feeling, you get a little bit of a cough, sometimes the sinuses act up a little bit. And so you need to you got to clear that fog in your brain. And you need to say, okay, you're going to need to remember, all right, these guys are new to the NFL. They're young. They're inexperienced. Yes. Guys who are like CeeDee Lamb, who we think are elite of the elite, have mental errors. Okay?
Sure.
Going into week 1, however, And then this is going to be like kind of the bonus flex play because you're not going to. Most of the rookies you aren't drafting as your wide receivers 1, 2, or 3, right? But you were probably picking them up on the bench, and building your bench depth. My question to you is, Brandon, are there any rookie wide receivers or multiple rookie wide receivers that you're comfortable starting this week 1 of the NFL season in your fantasy leagues?
Yes, I have 3 of them that I'm comfortable with starting. First and foremost,
baby.
The number 1, well, actually 4. The number 1 I'm actually good with is Davonte Smith. Davonte Smith is going to be the alpha in that offense, and it's about to happen. And Atlanta, their defense is a sieve, and it's a brand new defense. It's a brand new offense. It's a brand new coaching staff. So I could see mental errors being part of that, and I think Davonte Smith is the kind of guy that can take advantage of those mental errors on the defense. Also, another one with injury of Crowder that opens up Elijah Moore for a week 1 splash, and I actually love that game. And in DFS, I actually have that stack with Will in tournament. Remember, I'm a tournament guy. I am playing Wilson, Corey Davis, and Elijah Moore stack, and I am running it back with Christian McCaffrey. And I am so hyped on that lineup. I love that lineup, and I think that's a sneaky play and a sneaky shootout. And I really think they're going to be playing catch up the whole way because of Christian McCaffrey's return and Sam Darnold and another guy in that same exact game, Terrace Marshall. Terrace Marshall is a guy that is going to get red zone looks and will be able to dominate any Jet DB. And I think he is a sneaky play for DFS. And also, if you need a flex play, I am playing him this week.
Did you say Rondell?
I was going to go Rondell. I was going to let you speak for a second. But if you had anything. But Rondell is also another one that I am so in on for DFS because of the Titans offense is going to be able to shoot out with the cards, and that one's going to be able to put up. I think what the over under on that was 50 points, right? Something close to that.
53 actually.
53. Oh man, it moved up. 53. So Vegas is telling you that this thing is going to shoot out, and I think Rondell is going to have red zone jet sweep looks for rushing, and I think that is going to be where he cashes in on a jet sweep, just like Tyreek Hill. Watch what happens.
Yeah, I mean, for Rondell Moore, you're praying for the touchdown. I think. I mean, look,
it's Rondell's the probably the most risky of all those. But he is the one that is going to be able to make you money in DFS when he hits, because nobody is going to play Rondell. And I think if you're going to game stack, make sure if you're going to go Tannehill into AJ Brown or Julio stack, run it back with Rondell, and you're going to be very happy you did.
Yeah, man. Clip was talking about Waddle. Look, I'm not there on Waddle. I want to see it first because Devontae Parker's still starting that team. Davonte Smith, I'm okay with it. The only player that I'm really comfortable playing with, is obviously my boy Jalen Hurts in that game from the Philly side of things.
Oh, that's
I want to see. I need to see it first to believe it. Carolina,
I don't.
DJ Moore's a beast. Robbie Anderson's a beast. I'm just not there in Terrace Marshall. I'm not comfortable putting him in my lineup. But I mean, if you want to throw him into a DFS lineup, absolutely. Like I don't have any issues with that.
Dude, DFS.
Elijah Moore. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Elijah Moore, man. To me, that's kind of the play here because Jamison Crowder is out. We saw it in the preseason. Corey Davis is going to get absolutely peppered with targets.
Yep.
He was a guy that. He kind of eluded me, unfortunately, in most of my season-long drafts, just because I played chicken a lot, and I was stupid. I should have reached for him because I think Corey Davis is the perfect, especially if you start 3 wide receivers and you wanted to go, your elite tight end, your elite quarterback, and you needed that 3rd wide receiver. Corey Davis was perfect, or even as a flex play. Kind of eluded me, but Elijah Moore, man, he's special. He really is. And if you're going to start a rookie in week 1, to me, the play is kind of Elijah Moore.
Number 1 is Elijah Moore for sure.
I would say Elijah Moore. So that's interesting. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to finally see some of these rookies out there on the field. And look, guys, they're not going to get peppered with targets. Like Elijah Moore's not going to get out there and get 13 targets in his first game as an NFL pro. But what we want to see is that they game plan him in. Like Rondell Moore, same thing. We want to see that they have 5 or 6 design plays to make sure Rondell gets the ball in his hand and just to kind of see what he can do with it. So don't be discouraged if none of these guys really just jump off the page and put up 15 to 20 points for fantasy. But we want to see the usage. That's what's the most important part of this early part of the season. And with that in mind, Brandon, before we get into our flex plays, one thing I want to ask you, because you are a true degenerate, and I appreciate that, and that's why I love you. Who are some players, it doesn't matter the salary, but who are some players in DFS that and I'm going to preface this by saying we're not a DFS show. We're not the pros. We dabble in it for fun. So you take this advice for what it is. But
DFS will make you a sharper play overall.
Yeah. And Brandon tends to be net profitable. So take that for what it is. Who are some guys this week that you're trying to jam into your lineups as much as you can, that it doesn't matter the price, whether it's a high player or low player, a guy that you're going to have a lot of exposure to this week in DFS that you think that our listeners should also play?
Number one for high price running back is Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is set for a massive game. I think because of the injury of Irv Smith, a lot of those he's going to be ridden so hard, and I think that game is sneaky shootout game because the Bengals do have the offense to bring it back with T. Higgins and with Jamar, with Boyd. I think they can hang, and I think they're going to ride Cook until the wheels fall off this year. And he honestly, I think he could actually be the number one back this week. And that is a guy that I'm jamming into almost, I would say I have about 70% exposure on him. And then another one I have high exposure to is James Robinson. James Robinson is a must play to this week. This is a setup week. First week with Trevor Lawrence. They are going to lean on the run a little bit more than usual. I think coaches tend to do that early in the season with their rookie quarterbacks, hand that ball off to the guy that's done it before, and the Texans are trash. So I believe the Jags will win this going away, and I think it's because James Robinson puts up 2 tutties this week.
Yeah, I love it. So our boy Clipboard is stating the obvious because it's a guy that I love too. Jalen Hurts is just too cheap. I'm jamming him in my lineups as much as possible. Yeah, the problem with a guy like Jalen Hurts, though, is I worry about the correlation play, especially in tournaments. Like who are you going to start him with? Davonte Smith. I mean, they're all cheap.
Yes.
Quez Watkins, perhaps. So, get a little correlation. But if you're gonna, go the Lamar Jackson type, route where it's like, all right, you just need one guy to get that positive correlation. Throw in Davonte Smith. Maybe throw in Dallas Goedert for the tight end.
Goddard's nice.
Or go cheap and go Zach Ertz. It's kind of a gamble, right? Because we don't really know what the usage is going to be with Ertz, but it's definitely a guy that I like. So one of the high price players that I am trying to jam in my lineups is AJ Brown. Man, holy crap! Like the Arizona secondary is abysmal. They are bad. They're bad. Yep. AJ Brown is #really good, and he's a player that I'm pretty much going to have 95% exposure to.
I'm right there with you. I have him standalone in lineups that isn't my Titans and card stack, but in almost every stack I have with Tannehill, I have it with Brown, and then I'm running it back with Rondell Moore or Hopkins, and that's where I'm going. And when I'm playing with Kyler, I have Kyler stacked up with Hopkins and Rondell and running it back with AJ Brown. And I'm also doing some with Julio as well.
Love it. I love it. All right. Clip's going to throw a little bit of cold water on us. I mean, Al's not on the show, so it's a good thing we have Clip here. He's saying he's not quite buying into that James Robinson hype. So, yeah.
You're out of your mind.
I like James Robinson. I'm on the same page as you, Brandon, especially against that abysmal Houston Texans defense. The only thing that I worry about is it's going to be a low scoring game. So, I mean, that might be it might just present that massive, like 30 point, like GPP winning upside. But certainly at the price you're paying, getting that 3-4x value, it's To me, it's kind of a no-brainer, but
it's
I
easy.
See it. Yep. He's going to be chalky as hell. And I think you were talking about it last week or 2 weeks ago. Sometimes you got to eat the chalk. I get it. It's
eat
fine,
the chalk,
but
eat it once in a while.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, brother. We are going to pivot to our flex plays of NFL Week 1. Brandon Adam, who is your first flex player?
My first flex player this week is Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman is a player that people aren't realizing is going to be getting about a 30% target share in that offense. And he is the dude in that offense with T.Y. Hilton going down and with Carson Wentz coming back. This is
we did it.
I think this offense is going to be sneaky okay. And I'm pretty sure Quentin Nelson's going to be back for week 1 as well. So all that BS that people were trying to throw hot water, cold water all over these Colts, I think that's about to be turned upside down. And I think being in a game against the Seattle Seahawks, I think this has a game that is possibly going to shoot out a little bit as well. And that is why I love Michael Pittman, because I think Pittman's going to have a pretty big target share this week.
Yeah, I mean, so he's projected to go up against Trey Flowers, who in 2020 allowed 37 receptions. He's okay. I think like the Seattle beat is saying, "Oh, Trey Flowers is going to break out this year and he's going to be an elite cornerback." Maybe.
I'm a Seattle fan.
Yeah,
I'm a Seattle fan. I think Pittman can torch any of our corners.
Yeah. At 6'4", 223 pounds, he is a true alpha. One of the ways you can really make hay, and we've been talking about this all offseason, is getting those sophomore wide receivers with that 1 year under their belt. The biggest breakout you see from season to season for wide receivers between his first and his second year is going to happen with Michael Pittman. Look, I'm the first to admit I'm not a Carson Wentz guy this year. I kind of faded the F out of him. But then in my one home league, I somehow, it's super flex, I somehow ended up with Carson Wentz. I was panicking.
So good.
I was panicking. I only had to pay $2 on my budget, but that was $2 too much. And look, I'm riding. But you know what? I came back and I got the Michael Pittman stack. So I'm playing Pittman in my flex this week. I'm doing it,
dude.
And we're gonna chat about it next week and see how it pays off. So I love Michael Pittman. We were talking pre-show, and you totally just sniped me on Michael Pittman. I'm cool with that because I totally agree with you. I love him this week. One. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And hey, so the funny thing is, so coming into this week, we said, okay, Brandon, come up with 3 or 4 flex plays. Shane, come up with 3 or 4 flex plays. We come back. Who you got? Michael Pittman. All right. Oh shit. Okay, I got him too. Okay, that's good because we consensus, right? Who else do you got? Yeah. Well, the next player that I'm going to talk about. Somebody that was being drafted as an RB3. People are fading him. His rookie counterpart was being drafted ahead of him for pretty much all of the draft season. Right around the last week and a half, he started going ahead of him because people started to kind of open their eyes a little bit. But Raheem Mostert, man. Raheem freaking Mostert for the San Francisco 49ers going up against another abysmal team, Detroit Lions. Look, they can try to bite his ankles. However, he's going to rip past you. I think it's pretty common knowledge now. I think like in terms of pads, he had the fastest breakaway speed in the NFL last season or 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, the
dude is quick. He's healthy as far as we know.
Yep.
They're a 9-point favorite against Detroit this week.
Yes.
To me, Raheem Mostert is a lock play. I understand Trey Sermon's probably going to be used, especially maybe in the second half as they're trying to run down the clock in Detroit. But somebody's got to score points early. And man, like he's just people were sleeping on Raheem this whole offseason. I have to say.
I'm so with you.
Yeah,
I'm so with you. In almost every one of my DFS lineups, I have Raheem Mostert. That guy is gonna run for 100 and a tutty, and it could be more. But this Detroit Lion offense is about to get, or defense is about to get stomped out. And I think the Niners are very upset about what happened last year with just how they're bad luck with injuries. I think they're rearing to go, and I think they're going to take it all out on Detroit. And Kittle is going to have a monster as well.
Yeah, so this isn't a flex play. I mean, because you were drafting him around 3 or 4, but I think DeAndre Swift is a safe play. Don't let those internet rumors. I'm not even going to talk about him. Don't let those internet rumors worry you guys. He's starting this week. DeAndre Swift is hella good. Don't be afraid to start him, and especially if they're going to be down.
He's going to catch 5 passes.
Brent, get out of here with Jamal Williams. All right.
Okay, we'll see. This game, I'm actually we'll see. We're gonna find. I'm actually super. Decker is out too. Ouch, dude. That is not good for Goff at all. that's not good. It's gonna be brutal.
The Detroit Lions, like it's between it's a horse race between them and the Houston Texans, right? For the worst team in the NFL this year. Obviously, Detroit is in a much better situation in terms of a rebuild. They actually have a plan, whereas Houston, nobody knows what the hell is going on with Houston.
No,
look, Cliff, I got to mention Swift just because he's a good player. All right, just enough of the Swift hate.
I know.
Right.
You got to pump some.
Give me number 2. Go.
My next guy is in one of the biggest shootouts of the weekend, and it's going to be the wide receiver 1 for that offense for this week. It's going to be Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry is going to be getting target share, and he's going to be getting a lot of opportunities in that red zone. And I think this is a sneaky. Baker Jarvis stack is a sneaky stack there that is going to pay off its value. I feel like with Odell, I think they're very nervous about Odell still. I think they're going to ease him in a little bit. And I think Jarvis Landry is the most consistent wide receiver on that team. And I think it's going to be just fine.
They're playing the Kansas City Chiefs this week.
Yep.
It's a 54.5 game total, which means there's going to be a lot of points.
Lots.
Look, man, I was kind of like, I feel like I go back and forth with Baker Mayfield in terms of like being a legitimate, he's a good quarterback. I think he's a good NFL quarterback. I don't know if he's a good fantasy quarterback, which means I don't know if he's going to be great at peppering his teammates, but you can have a good quarterback who doesn't put up a lot of fantasy points and still have very productive wide receivers in that offense.
Yep,
and look,
absolutely.
Jarvis Landry, where you're drafting him, like he was a flex play, right? He's going to be peppered, I think. Can we just talk about Odell Beckham? Like people are talking, I don't care where he was being drafted. He was being overdrafted. He hasn't done anything for like seemingly a freaking decade, man. It's the name brand only. I loved Odell when he was a player. To me, his little trip, like what was it down to like Cabo or something like that? You know,
that was the end of it.
That was it for me. That was it. I was out on Odell after that. It's like you need to be focused. It's your first time in the freaking playoffs. You need to go in focused, and that's there's too many distractions. Is what it is. Jarvis Landry, I think that's a sharp play. They're gonna have to put up points. And look, in the playoffs last year, they showed Kansas City that they were for real, right?
Yeah.
And for the most part, the team is coming back pretty similar. So I'm cool. I
think everybody. I mean, Vegas thought Tampa Bay was going to blow out the Cowboys. People think that Casey's going to blow out the Browns. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a very competitive game going into the fourth quarter, and I think Jarvis Landry is going to he's going to score a touchdown. I think he is going to be able to beat, especially if Tyrann Mathieu doesn't play. That is going to be, I think Jarvis Landry is a sneaky play, and I think he can return value.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we're trying to get here, right? Like we're not the obvious plays, like you're starting your AJ Browns, you're starting your like we're trying to help you win your leagues, and that's how you win it in the trenches, right? In fantasy football. So the player that this guy is not originally somebody that I had on my list, but the more I've been thinking about it, the more I think he is going to get the most targets in that offense. I worry just a little bit because it's a rookie quarterback, and the game total for this one is quite low. But I'm going to go with Jacoby Myers, man. Nelson Aguilar, he has not really been practicing with Mac. And look, I know preseason is just preseason, but there was clear and obvious chemistry between Jacoby Myers and Mac Jones.
100%.
Look, Mac Jones, according to Cam Newton, doesn't have a distraction anymore. That is Cam Newton, which means you can focus on week one. I think that the Patriots, they need to get sharp. They need to get ready for, was it week 4 when they play Tampa, when Tom comes home? Tommy going back to Boston. And I think that, look, they're not going to, the training wheels are off, man. I think they want to see what they have in Mac Jones. I think that Mac Jones is going to be able to effectively run that offense. And the type of player that he really targeted last year in college, obviously Davonte Smith, the Heisman Trophy winner. How did he win? He won on slants. What are the Patriots excellent at? Slants. I mean, Julian Edelman 2.0. I like Jacoby Myers this week, man. I think he's going to get 7, 8, 9 targets, and he could get a tutty, man.
I actually like that. I actually like that a lot. And I think another person that offense I think is going to explode is Jonnu Smith. I think Jonnu Smith is going to be. I think they're going to try and get away from Xavier Howard a little bit, and I think Jonnu Smith can be a guy that can run it when they're down by the goal line, and also it can just moss people and get out physical people in the red zone as well. I think, and I just like, honestly, when I watch Mac Jones, it's like watching an old school veteran quarterback, man.
Right.
Like, I just love watching him play the game. Like he just, I just like his presence. And I think there's just certain people in life that have a maturity about them and that are leaders of men. And I think he's one of them. I think he's just one of those guys.
You know, it makes me laugh, dude. So there's we've all seen like the Joe Burrow, like after they won the national championship, he's like on the couch with a cigar, right? There's a picture of Mac without his shirt on. He's got the paw.
Love it.
It doesn't look like he's got a single muscle definition in his body, and he's smoking the cigar. And I just laugh. I'm like, it makes you think of obviously when Tom Brady was a quarterback, right? Like it's a different world. He looks a little more trim now, but it just makes me laugh. Like,
I have a feeling. Do you think San Francisco got scared off of Mac when they traded up? Do you think they were gonna? I've been hearing a little bit of murmurs. Like, do you think they were all Trey Lance from the beginning?
Well, here's the thing, right? They were number 3, so I don't think they were 100% sold on the fact that Trey Lance was going to fall to them at 3. My guess is they were comfortable taking Trey, or they were comfortable taking Mac Jones.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Like I've heard some insiders from San Francisco say that they thought that they kind of got scared off of it by the media, and they went with Trey Lance, the upside play, instead of Mac Jones. I don't know.
I don't buy that.
Interesting.
I don't buy that.
I don't buy it either. I don't buy it either.
I don't buy that. I think that
interesting.
I think they had Mac as their number 3 ranked quarterback, and at number 3, they're cool to have both because Shanahan could have done whatever he needed to do with both. I mean, look, Mac Jones is basically a better version of Jimmy Garoppolo, right? So they could have run the exact same offense with Mac, and it would have been successful. So, but I don't buy that.
I think Mac is a dog competitor. I think Jimmy's just. I think so too. I just think Jimmy doesn't have that edge.
He's too handsome, man. He's too handsome.
He doesn't have the edge to him, man. Yeah, and I think Mac has that edge. I like him. I like him a lot, actually.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Do you have another flex play, Brendan Adam?
So in that Atlanta game, everybody is looking towards Calvin Ridley, Kyle Pitts. I'm going to give you Russell Gage.
Oh, Russell Gage. I need to go get some soap because I feel dirty right now.
Russell Gage is a guy that these coaches have been so comfortable moving away from Julio Jones because of Russell Gage's play was part of that reason why they were okay with it being their wide receiver too. And Russell Gage has some upside with trick plays. They like to use him in throwing the football. They like to use him in the red zone as well. And with these Eagles, I think that game is completely going to shoot out because I think both defenses are very suspect. And I think Matt Ryan is very comfortable with Russell Gage. And I think Russell Gage has a very good chance of actually getting that touchdown. And I think he's at least going to have 5 catches this week.
Were you a Kyle Pitts guy? Like, we're all Kyle Pitts people. He's a monster. Okay. When I say Kyle Pitts guy, like Clipboard Jesus was taking Kyle Pitts, correct me if I'm wrong Clip, but 101 in Superflex leagues, like for tight end premium, he was dropping it for real. And I know, cause I'm in a bunch of leagues with Clip. He is the Kyle Pitts truther in my humble opinion. I was not there. I had him in my Superflex leagues, top of my head, probably 7 or 8 in my rookie rankings, just because of value, right? It's all about positional scarcity, and I get it, man. Like, you have one of those elite tight ends, it makes a real difference in those leagues, but I just wasn't quite there on him. Do you think that he's going to have this electric rookie season and put up, like, to pay off what you're paying, he's going to have to get probably 800 yards, 70, 80 receptions, and 7, 8 touchdowns. Is that going to be? Do you think he's going to pay off that value?
I think he's going to be an incredible player. I think he's going to be he's incredibly talented, but we all know tight ends take some time. It's just what the position is. The position is very multifaceted, where you got to be able to do. You got to be a lineman. You got to be able to be a wide receiver at the same time as well. And Pitts, of course, for the modern day football, Pitts is the best prospect we've ever seen. But he is not. I think he's going to be outside of the top 5 tight ends this year. And I think he'll probably be around 6. And I have Mark Andrews and Hawk in front of him. So that's just my opinion on him. But this is the first game. It's at home. They got to prove the pick was the right pick, right? So I could totally see, baby. I could totally see them trying to force feed him and make him a thing. But I think Matt Ryan is going to go to the veteran on the opposite side, where he's going to be singled up on single coverage all game. Gage is going to be able to take advantage of that.
Calvin Ridley, man, he's going to get like 38 freaking targets this week. Like,
Calvin Ridley's going to have like a 35% target share.
Yeah, I was looking back at my my exposure to wide receivers, and just like the way that I was building my teams and best balls this year, I was typically going Jonathan Taylor or Antonio Gibson or whoever, right? Najee Harris over Calvin Ridley. I'm already starting to get a little bit of heartburn over it. I just did not get enough Calvin Ridley this year in my best balls, and it's worrying me because Calvin Ridley legitimately could be the wide receiver 1 this year. Like, he showed that he could do it last year. He legitimately could be the wide receiver 1 because he's going to get this shit peppered out of him, and I'm looking forward to it. So if you have him, just sit back, pull up like old Mac with that cigar, because you're going to have a very productive season. I got one last one.
He's going to be a monster. Go ahead.
He's going to be a monster. I got one last one. Look, this guy's a flex play. He balled the hell out. He's got Jameis Winston as quarterback. The matchup against Green Bay is not great. It worries me a little bit, but again, it's all about opportunity. And this is a man that targets are earned. He's going to earn his targets. He's shown chemistry. He's shown that he can make those insane circus catches. I'm confident in my flex this week playing one Marquez Callaway. What say you, Brendan?
I say you're going to be hurting. Jair Alexander is going to erase him.
You think he's done, hey?
Yeah, I think he's going to have a hard time. I think this is a complete Alvin Kamara game, and but because of just volume, you might be okay, and you might be all right. But I think the upside of Marquez isn't going to be seen in this week just because of Alexander, and that defense in the back end is tough, and they drafted their corner to help out from the sieve that they had, but I think Alexander is just going to shadow.
That's totally
Marquez,
fair. I've been kind of humming and hawing on. I have actually Pittman and Marquez in a league, and I'm playing Pittman over Marquez this week. He's sitting on my bench. But look, in some of these deeper leagues, like by the end of draft season, you were drafting Marquez in round 8 or 9, and so you might have to make that decision if you want to start him this week. And look, man, he's done it. He's showing me that he can do it. I think that he's going to get his. And look,
well, he's complete chalk in DFS, and I have none of it. Yes,
he's chalky, even against Jair Alexander. Really? Okay, so maybe in DFS it's a fade. That to me, that's a hard fade.
It's a fade for me in DFS.
Yeah, for your flex plays, I'm okay doing it. Do I trade Gaston? Ooh. Hold on a second. We got Clap Nuts has a question here that intrigues me. Do I trade Gaskin and Gage for Mixon? Absolutely.
100%. Go. Look, smash. Go. Now. Go.
It, man. Like, literally, just do it right now. Like,
clap
go right now
nuts.
and do it.
Go get it.
We don't look.
Honestly, dude.
Yeah, do it right now,
Mixon
Clap. Like, go clap some nuts and steal Mixon. Yeah. Look, I have been down on Joe Mixon because where I had him was like probably end of round 2, which means I was not getting a lot of Joe Mixon exposure this year in my drafts, which is fine. Like there's a lot of good players around him. Joe Mixon's going to have a pretty good season if he's healthy.
Oh,
I obviously we like Joe Burrow might start the season slow, but Joe Burrow's a good player. He's going to put it together. And there's no Gio Bernard, man. And when he didn't play, I think he averaged, don't quote me on this, but it's around 23, 24 PPR fantasy points per week is what he averaged without Gio Bernard there. 4 games, small sample size, but he put it together.
Hey,
Myles Gaskin,
you're getting an elite talent for 2 journeymen. Go get them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to do it. Do it now. Do it now. Clap.
Come on, buddy.
So that's it, man. This is going to be a lot of fun. So I've got a bonus episode that we're going to be putting up tomorrow morning with my boy Sezzy. It's going to be a short and sweet one. I know, Brandon, I don't think you're able to make it tomorrow morning. You're welcome to join. But so we're going to try to get one bonus episode before the season starts because had to get Al on. He's a busy, busy man, but I was able to wrangle him up.
Nice.
But listen, man, this is what we did it all for. So go back, turn on your red zone. Get your media going. Get your favorite game on the big screen. Get your red zone going on your tablet or your phone or your computer, and just sit back, have a cigar with Mac Jones, and enjoy week 1 of the NFL fantasy season. And Brandon, where do the good people find you?
On Twitter at BrandonDAdam19. Come on, guys. Subscribe, unsubscribe, and subscribe again for us, guys. We need to pump up those numbers.
Click. Man, guys, listen.
Do it.
We love this. We're passionate about it. We don't care if there's anybody listening or thousands of people listening, but certainly, you know what? It helps when thousands of people are listening. We wouldn't say no to that. So we don't say it enough, guys. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time to listen and just hear a couple of guys that like fantasy football talk about fantasy football for 45 minutes. So if you like what you listen to, like, comment, and we will comment back. Tweet us on Twitter. We will tweet back to you. And we're here all season, and we're going to help you flex on your fantasy league. So
let's go make some money in DFS. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. And we might just make a little bit of cash in DFS. So, Brandon, of course, you can follow you on Twitter at BrandonDAdam19. You can follow me on Twitter at the Flex Network 1. It's kind of a bipolar account, we're going to say. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but when Flex Mac is tweeting out, it's a little bit whack. When I tweet out, I like to think it's sharp, savvy, and intelligent. Then maybe that's just my bias.
I can tell the difference right away.
Exactly, right? You can tell immediately.
It's like who's like, oh shit, he's back. Got it.
That must be Matt. Yeah, exactly. Yep. But listen, guys, we love it. We're here for fantasy football. So with that in mind, for Brandon, for Flex Matt, for Season Long says, I am Flex Shane, and we are the Flex Network.
This is the Flex Network. This is the Flex Network. Flex on them. Flex on everybody. This right here is the Flex Network.